In this video, I will be redesigning Twisted Astro to make him scarier and also introduce new mechanics to make him a bigger threat. To start, I created a YouTube post asking people how they would make Astro more terrifying, and I received some interesting suggestions. One idea that came up a lot was to make Astro crawl around like a spider, which I think people suggested because of his second set of arms. However, I didn't really like this idea because Astro isn't based off a spider. He's some sort of moon creature, so making him into a spider would feel kinda random. One suggestion I did like though was to make Astro into some sort of corrupt Sandman, because Astro feels heavily inspired by the Sandman rather than a spider. The only problem was that I wasn't sure how to execute this idea properly. All my original design ideas for Astro made him tall and added more ichor to him, which in my opinion felt kinda boring. Then, I received a comment from someone named Doomlord0773, which sparked some inspiration. He shared some tips and showed off some of his own twisted redesigns, which were pretty cool. I'll link his work in the description so you can check it out. What stood out to me in his designs was the idea of making Astro look like a Grim Reaper. Then out of nowhere, this idea reminded me of the Deer Lord from Spooky's Jumpscare Mansion because he also kinda looks like a Grim Reaper. So I used the Deer Lord as a reference for Astro's body outline. Along with making Astro's design scarier, I wanted to ensure the design reflected his personality. All we know about Twisted Astro is that he feels guilty about something, most likely his relationship with Dandy, but I wasn't sure how to visually represent that guilt. That's when another user, HotBellPeppas595, suggested I could wrap Astro in his blanket to symbolize him being trapped by his own guilt. I thought this was a great idea, so I wrapped the blanket around his body, but made sure to stick his arms out to show that he's still a threat. Another thing I changed about Twisted Astro is that he doesn't walk around the map anymore. He floats around the map. As for the head, I wasn't sure what direction to take at first, but I took Doomlord's advice and cracked his moon face to create a mouth and an eye socket. I also added a pupil, but honestly, he looks much scarier with empty eyes. For the right side of his face, I wasn't sure what to do, so I kept the star from his original design, but sometimes he looks better without it. With the design now complete, here's the final version of Twisted Astro. Next, I'll share my new mechanic ideas. Normally, Twisted Astro gives you a tired debuff while chasing you. He also chases you longer than most other Twisteds. Additionally, if you fail a machine, he drinks most of the ichor from it. Out of all the mains, Twisted Astro is the easiest to deal with, so new mechanics would make him more of a threat. But before I explain what my new ideas are, let me talk about the lore of the Sandman because my mechanics will be based on it. In folklore, the Sandman throws sand or dust in the eyes of children who don't go to sleep, causing their eyes to fall out and be collected by him. This lore is going to directly influence Astro's mechanics. As Astro roams around the map, he will leave a trail of black sleeping gas behind him. When a player walks into this gas, they'll receive a tired debuff and their screen will darken until they escape the gas. Additionally, if Astro sees you, a hidden pair of arms in his blanket will reach out and try and grab you, similar to how Goob can grab people from far away. Then, the arms holding the blanket shut will open the blanket and release a burst of sleeping gas that surrounds and blinds you. To make this mechanic more fair, Astro will stop for a couple of seconds while you try and escape the gas circle before chasing you again. I believe this mechanic will make Astro more of a threat, and it will tie him more closely to the Sandman lore. Now, let's talk about sound design. I believe sound design is a crucial element in making a horror game truly scary. So here are some ideas I have. While Astro roams around the map, he will emit faint cries to represent his normal but guilty side. But when he sees you, he'll let out a ghastly shriek to reveal his monstrous side. I'll include an example of what this could sound like. With that, those are some of my ideas for a Twisted Astro redesign. I would like to thank the people who took the time to respond to my community posts, because thinking up a new design for Twisted Astro was actually pretty hard, especially Doomlord0773. I took a lot of the aspects from his design and put them to my own, so I'd like to thank him the most. With that done, I would like to hear your thoughts about my redesign and how I can improve upon it. With that, bye and see you later.